Hey guys, it's Trevor of Dynojet. Today I'm going to show you the install of the Dynojet charge tube and J tube for the Polaris RZR Pro XP. Let's go ahead and get these tubes on our Pro XP today. We're going to be replacing the J tube that goes from the airbox down to the turbo and our charge tube that goes from the turbo to the throttle body. We're also going to be installing our adjustable blow-off valve that you can also get in a kit with your charge tube. These tubes are made of a stronger silicone material which holds up the heat a lot better with higher boost pressures, and are overall just a better flowing tube which will also help you with your charge temperatures. Follow along and I'll show you how easy this install is. All you're going to need for this install tool-wise is a 1/4 inch ratchet or an electric ratchet if you want to speed things along, a pair of dikes, Torx 30, a Torx 25, a 7mm socket, a 11mm socket, and a 10mm socket. We're also going to need a 4mm Allen key and some miscellaneous extensions. You can also use some silicone spray, but it's not necessary. First step today, we're going to go ahead and remove this back bed out of the RZR. You're going to have 4 bolts holding it in place, top corner, 2 in the middle, and on the other top corner. Once you get those 4 bolts out, the whole bed should pull back and pull right out. Now we have the bed removed from the car, we're going to go ahead and remove the seats. Seats come out pretty easy with just a little lever on the bottom in the center. Pull it up and the seats will pop right out. After we get the seats out, we're going to go ahead and remove the back panel that will give us access to the heat shields. Now once you get the seats out, we're going to go ahead and remove this back panel. This top piece is pretty easy to take out. There's 4 twist pins, 2 on the left side, 2 on the right side. You're just going to twist them and they'll pop out. Pull on the panel, slide it up, and then slide it out. We're going to go ahead and remove the lower part of this back panel also. This is optional. You don't have to do it. You can get to the bolts for the heat shield without having to remove it, but for video purposes and for better lighting purposes, we're going to go ahead and remove this. It's pretty easy also. There's a twist pin on both left and right sides. And then there's 2 under the center console. Once you have those removed, you go ahead and pull up. And that pops out just like the top one did. Now we have the back panels out. We're going to go ahead and remove these first 3 bolts for the heat shield. Once you have the 3 bolts on the inside of the car removed for the heat shield, we're going to come to the back of the car right above the exhaust. There's going to be a shield with 2 bolts in it. We're going to go ahead and remove just the bolt on the right. Once that bolt's removed, we can loosen the bolt on the left and then flip this heat shield up and over and out of our way. Once you get the bolt taken out on the exhaust side, we're going to come over now to the clutch side. Your last bolt to hold that heat shield on is going to be located pretty much right above where your stock blow-off valve is. Once you get this one removed, you'll be able to slide that heat shield all the way and have full access to the tubes. Once you get that last bolt removed, there's nothing else holding the heat shield. You can just go ahead and slide the heat shield out of your way. And now we have full access to the tubes. First tube we're doing today is the charge tube. The first step of taking this off is we're going to go ahead and remove the recirculation line that is connected to the bottom of the stock blow-off valve. We're going to go ahead and remove that line. We have a hose clamp holding this line on. Stock configuration, it's going to be an ear clamp, so you're going to have to probably cut it off. We've just had this tube off before, so To make our life a little bit easier, we just put a hose clamp on it. Once you have the recirculation line off, you're going to go ahead and remove the vacuum line from the top of the blow-off valve. This vacuum line in a stock configuration has another ear clamp on it you're going to have to cut off and remove. Like I said, we recently had these tubes off and we just never put one back on. So you're going to go ahead and gently remove the hose from the blow-off valve, pull it back, tuck it out of your way, and then we're going to come back and take off our map sensor. Pop that off, tuck it out of your way. Once you have the map sensor unhooked, we're going to go ahead and remove our stock map sensor. Unscrew the bolt, and give it a gentle pull. It'll pop right out. Now we have everything removed from the charge tube. We're going to go ahead and remove the two clamps. We're going to go ahead and remove the throttle body side first. And then the turbo side. Once you have the clamps loosened, you can go ahead and pull up on the tube. Pull it off the turbo, and it's off. Before we put the Dynojet tube on, we're going to go ahead and install our blow-off valve and reinstall our map sensor. The blow-off valve kit gives you two hose clamps. One is for the recirculation line to hook that back up, and then one is to hold on the blow-off valve. So we're going to go ahead and slide one onto the tube, and then put the blow-off valve in, piston side in. And then we're going to leave it like that, so when we install the tube, we can turn the blow-off valve if we need to line up with the recirculation line. After you have that hooked up, we're going to go ahead and pop in our stock map sensor and use the supplied bolt that comes in your kit to lock it down in place. Once you have all that on the tube, we can go ahead and install the tube on the car. Now that the charge tube is ready to install, we're going to go ahead and use our stock clamps that came off the OEM tube. Slide the small clamp over the turbo side, the larger of the clamps over the throttle body side. And then just for ease of install, I'm going to give it a little spray of silicone spray. Slide it onto the turbo end, and then slide it on to the throttle body end. Once you have the tube on, we're going to go ahead and tighten down the clamps. So today we're going to be rehooking up our recirculation line to the blow-off valve. The kit does come with a filter and a plug for this recirculation line so you can blow off the atmosphere, but today we're going to be reusing the line, so we're going to go ahead and use our second hose clamp that comes in the kit. Slide it over the tube, and then go slide the tube onto the blow-off valve. Once you have it on, you can go ahead and tighten down that hose clamp. Once you have that hose clamp tight, you can come back to the top, push the blow-off valve all the way back into the tube, and then tighten down the hose clamp on the tube. Once you have the tube bolt tightened down, your blow-off valve's in place, we're going to go ahead and reinstall our vacuum line. We do give you guys another vacuum line in the kit in case you damage the OEM one. Go ahead and slide it on. And then we're going to go ahead and reconnect our map sensor, and then the install for the charge tube is done, and then we'll be on to installing the J tube. First step of removing our J tube is we're going to go ahead and remove our map sensor. The easiest way to get to it is on the inside of the vehicle through those back panels. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the connector and then remove the map sensor. Same with the other map sensor, just gently pull up and it'll pop out. After removing the map sensor out the J-tube, we're going to go ahead and remove the crankcase ventilation tube on the right and the recirculation tube on the left. Stock configuration, you're going to have 2 ear clamps, but we've had this tube off before, so we're just using hose clamps. So we're going to go ahead and remove those tubes. First clamp we're going to remove is the turbo side. Once we get that loosened up, we'll come up to the air box and remove that clamp. Once you have those clamps loosened, we're going to go ahead back to the clutch side of the car and remove the J-tube. You can go ahead and grab on and give it a good little tug. Kind of got to finesse it a little bit off of the turbo side. Clamps might fall off, but once you get it off, you just pull it on out. Now we have the OEM tube off, we can go ahead and start prepping our Dynojet J-tube to install in the car. You're going to get 2 new clamps for the airbox side and the turbo side when we go to install the tube, and then you're going to have 4 smaller hose clamps. 2 of them are going to be slightly larger than the other 2. The 2 larger ones you're going to use to attach the supplied couplers to the tube, and then the smaller clamps are going to be for the recirculation tube and the crankcase ventilation tube. So we're going to go ahead and throw our coupler on, a little bit of spray, some silicone spray, make sure your hose clamp's on, push the coupler in, and then go ahead and tighten it down, get it nice and snug. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Clamp first, coupler, once you have the couplers on, we're going to go ahead and reinstall our map sensor, and then snug it down with the supplied bolt in the kit. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and install the Dynojet J-tube. I'm going to give it a little bit of a spray of silicone, just a little bit to help it slide on. And we're going to pop it back on to the turbo side and the airbox. Now we have the tube popped on, we can go ahead and tighten down the clamps. Just get it snug, and then go ahead and tighten down the turbo side clamp. We're going to now reinstall the recirculation line. We're going to use the 2 smaller hose clamps that came in the kit. Use one for this tube, and then we're going to use one for the other side. Just slide it back onto the coupler. And go ahead and tighten this down. Now that we have this on, we're going to do the same to the other side for the crankcase ventilation tube. Go ahead and tighten that side down. Nice and snug. Last step of the J-tube install is just reconnecting our map sensor. And you're done. Thank you guys for following along with this video. Hopefully this helps you guys out along the way with your install. If you found this video helpful, give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for more great RZR products, check us out at Dynojet.com.